Our special guest was riding bulls and roping calves until he was introduced to acting and the world of storytelling through filmmaking. Through a series of events, Kerry Wallum found himself involved in the movie and music business. And Kerry now has over 100 film projects, including award-winning music videos, under his belt. Producing, directing, and acting, Kerry has a passion to make great stories that are talked about all over the world. And Kerry has acted and been a stuntman in some great movies, including The Yearling, The Rock, directed by Michael Bay, The Crow, and Dead Man's Walk, to name a few. Kerry Wallum is also co-producer in collaboration with country music legend Willie Nelson in building the film production franchise Luck Films. Let's welcome actor, stuntman, producer, director, and a man who is as tough as they come, Kerry Wallum. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ward. Glad to be here.
Well, how did you go from rodeo cowboy to being a stuntman in film?
I actually was always doing acting. I mean, I did in junior high school. I did a play with a friend of mine that he's gone now, but his brother is still my best friend. Been my best friend for 50 years as of last week. And so I started out doing plays and just always. I think a lot of people when there's kids, they just run and go and run your head through this. And, I was that kind of guy. So,
well, when did you get into rodeoing?
actually, I started riding steers, and then junior bulls, senior bulls. And a guy kind of took over helping raise me when I was I think I was 11 years old. And his name was Mike Grohosky, and he roped calves. And when I was 13, I was driving some of these pro cowboys to Greeley, Colorado, Belfast, South Dakota, and pulling a gooseneck with a 2-horse behind it. And 13 years old. So you had to keep up with these guys, or they'd lock you in the back of the truck. So they was pretty hardcore. So.
Well, to going from rodeo cowboy to stuntman, did you just feel that you could get paid better for falling down?
Yeah, and I the first year I started doing it, first year I got to do anything, I think was 1979 or 80, 79, and just the paycheck just was great, and I wasn't a great guy back then. I spent it all on stuff I shouldn't have, and things I shouldn't do, and I was just that kind of guy that the money was here today and gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it seems to be pretty common from the film industry to television. I know in the music business, a lot of musicians wake up one day and realize that they have nothing because they've just thought the money will always be there.
I always say that if I'd had that 100 or 200 million or the $1 billion, I don't think I would have blown that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
How many bones have you broken being a stuntman?
I've had 27 surgeries that I can remember. I was thinking of that earlier, talking to my other half. But I've had a lot of surgeries. And it wasn't just all stunts. It was just a lot of stupid things too, But I think things through a lot better now. As I'm old, I'm getting old, so I'm trying to help you get the younger guys. Like I seen some skateboarders a while back, and they wasn't wearing knee pads or anything else. I said, "Man, you guys got any knee pads?" Hey, we got this, kind of smart up. And I thought that was me. So don't tell me what I know, So
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm an amateur cyclist, and when I see somebody else riding a bike without a helmet, I'm like, it only takes one time. And I rode motorcycles too, but I always wore a helmet. So
yeah. It's. I think the biggest thing is, you just want to go, you just want to do and have fun, and you don't really start thinking. If you see them people that do start thinking their way through life in their 20s, they turned out to be really, really great people, or they're in prison. One of those. So.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I mean, because. Being young and being a stuntman, did you feel like you're invincible?
I did. Just anything they'd tell me to do, I'd figure out a way to do it. Or, back then, I remember in the 90s, aerodynamics started being a big play in a lot of things we did. And it was just hard for me. I think the hardest thing about doing stunts wasn't doing the stunts. It was dealing with a lot of people that didn't want you in their circle back then. You know, it's hard to get in that, breaking that circle in the business. And once you broke in, you had it made. But a lot of people that I know that are better high fallers or car crashers or horse stunts that, you know, have not ever got to do a movie. You know, so
Well,
yeah. So
I know I'm probably going to date myself here, but I remember the days of famed stuntman Dar Robinson,
yes,
and
I do
uh,
too.
and even with all of his stunts, he lost his life just riding around on set
On a motorcycle, yeah.
on a motorcycle. Now, who were some of your hidden heroes in film that you looked up to in the stunt world?
You know, actually, I always looked up to Terry Leonard and some of these Jeff Amata and some of these older guys. But like you just said, Dar Robinson, Dar Robinson was just like the ultimate. You know, he was just like, wow, he's crazier than heck, but he made everything happen. And like you said, he did one of the biggest high falls ever, and did some crazy stuff, but made it out. And then he got on a little motorcycle crash, and ended his life. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
I
crazy.
remember seeing Dar at the Houston Astrodome during a stunt show in which he jumped from the center of the top of the inside of the Astrodome down to the airbag, and it's a long way down. And,
Oh no.
it was weird back then because he was really the only one that took the whole stunt aspect out into the public eye, kind of like what Evil Knievel was
Yeah.
doing, but Dar was doing it on the stunt side of things. For you, did you ever do a stunt that maybe you thought you shouldn't have done?
I always I think that I haven't there's stuntmen that's done a million times more than I have. You know, they're the big guys out there, but and I got to work when I got to work, and I'm proud of it. But I was working with I think it was 91, 92. We was doing a movie called Bionic Ever After in Charleston, South Carolina. That was where Lee Majors was a $6 million man, and he married Lindsay Wagner. And I was doing a stunt, and I had gotten stitches the day before, and then I was jumping from a four wheeler to a UPS van at 30 something miles an hour, and then they was going around the corner and throwing me off on the pavement. And I remember I had stitches, and I wanted to keep the job because I knew they probably wouldn't let me do it if they knew I had the stitches, because I had it in between my privates and my leg of all places, you know. So I went ahead and did the stunt. But when I'd walk by people during the day, I kind of walk by and wait for them to walk by, and then I'd walk a little further, and I did it, got on the four wheeler, did the stunt, got thrown off on the pavement, and you're supposed to give them a thumbs up that you're okay, and then they give the thumbs up, and I think that was the dumbest move I ever made, because I was hurting so bad, and who could you tell, you know? I mean, you can you can tell people about your pains, but if they don't feel it,
Well, yeah.
but that
Now,
was.
for you, you know every aspect of film. And I guess it depends on the stunt, but and it also depends on a particular scene for an actor. I mean, I know from experience that the setup time takes a lot longer than actually filming what you're looking at. How long does it take to actually set up a particular stunt just to make sure that nobody gets hurt?
The good thing about it is you get some of these, like, I mean, Kenny Bates, all these other guys, Joe Ordaz, some of these guys that know what they're doing. Safety is the number one thing. And, if you get on a set and there's no safety, or walk away, because it ain't worth it if these people don't see that safety is number one. So I think the biggest thing is it depends on if it's an air rab, high falls, but they don't so much rehearse as they do, with like a high fall that I've witnessed just a while back, is that they let it go down to where it's supposed to hit on the descending unit, and they know these guys are pros now. I mean, I'm not even in their league anymore. I like what I'm doing now because I haven't broke a bone in a while. So,
Well, how
yeah,
did you go from stuntman to actor?
I actually got a one liner back in 82 or 83, and I told everybody I was in this movie. I'm acting the, and and they cut it out. And so, I started liking it. So I went to, I can't remember his name. I went to acting school in Roseanne Barr studio in '91, and I was doing a few parts before that, good parts, but not like this. And he played Mr. Kincaid on the Partridge Family, Madden. And anyway, so I went to his acting school, and then I started really enjoying it right then. I started seeing a whole different what I could pull off, and I really feel like this acting and is you know I love it. I can pull it off. I feel like it's trying to be myself, but be somebody else at the same time is really cool. You know, if that
Well, what's
answers
your
your question, I
favorite?
might have won.
No, it's all good. Now, what was your favorite acting role thus far?
Well, I liked them all. I enjoyed them. I think working with um, F. Abraham Murray or F. Murray Abraham or however you say it. He won an Oscar for Amadeus. I did the prequel to Lonesome Dove, and I had dialogue across from him, and I just remember him just spitting and you gotta shut down, and it was just like that's an actor, and I mean that was just a little part, and I've done big, huge parts, but I think that brought me out to a different level because working with a pro like that made you think, wow, this ain't that hard, but these guys are pros and they do it all the time, so you can't halfway do something, you got to really pull it off. And if you feel like you can't do it, be honest and say, no, I can't, I can't do it. I mean, it's pretty simple in the long run.
Well, have you
Nobody
ever
wants to
been?
do that.
Well, have you ever been around a method actor?
Yeah, I've been around a few, and I like a little bit of method. I think it depends the movie and the scenes, what you pull off and what you do. But yeah, I've seen some method actors. I got a movie coming up this weekend, and I'm playing a me and my other half say I can win an Oscar, but I know I'm just kidding. But I'm playing a grouch, and it's I mean I'm a grouch. It's kind of like Gran Torino with Clint, except I'm a lot more verbal, and I'm really looking forward to it because I don't want kids around me. Don't touch me, And then at the end of it, it's a I better not tell the story, but anyway, it's a great little script, and so I'm enjoying. I'm looking forward to that. So.
Well, I understand that you have some major ties to the music industry, especially country music. What's that all about?
Well, back in 2009, my partner David Von Rome and Willie Nelson, all of us was at Willie's house, and we was recording some stuff. We'd always go over there and film. I do a lot of things, and Willie gosh, his one-liners mean a lot. If you really listen he's got one-liners that mean more than most people's pages as far as influence and reality. But we was sitting there and we was all saying, well, let's start a film company, and so we was going through these names, all of us, and then Willie behind the counter says, well. We was naming it this, and then we was naming it that, and Willie said, "Well, let's just name it Luck Films." Yeah, that's it. So we named it Luck Films, and David and I are pretty much the only ones out of five of us that went and hit the road, really trying to get things going. And then we get Willie every once in a while, but Willie never wanted us, and we never did use his name to get money, but we had good projects, and we could always say Willie was a producing partner, but we never used his name. But it got kind of out of hand for a while to where, I mean, I could get called in on a good part, hey, we want you, Kerry, come up. Now, you think you can get Willie? And it was never about me, and it was never about David on most of the things. And it got pretty to where, I love Willie to death. I mean, I still to this day, he's one of the greatest guys ever. Our political views ain't in line, but we never even brought it up. He's just a good man. But that we've got a lot of film, a lot of videos we did, and lots of things. David Von Rome, which was my, gosh, man, I talked to him 3 times a week for the last 13 years. Passed away last year at this time, and just passed away suddenly. And same age as me, exactly. He was a month older than me, and that just kind of hit home. And I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of wanted to rethink things through and do things differently. Y- if you do something good, if everybody does something good, they'll remember it for a while. if you do something bad, they remember it forever. That type of deal. And David's one of them guys that, to me, never really did nothing bad. He was always helping everybody. He ran a Charter Tech film school in New Jersey. It was called Charter Tech Film School, and he helped so many kids. And we took so many kids on the road and did probably 20 videos and 5 or 6 movies. Using the kids and giving them credits, and some of them have been nominated for awards now and stuff. And anyway, losing a partner was a big deal, and now it's just I don't even really I push Luck Films still because I have 13 million hits on our Luck Films YouTube, but that's actually, of course, they see Willie's name, they're going to pull it up, but that's me and David push that, and that's why it's where it's at, and he was just a good partner that I had to
Well,
throw that in there because I
when you lost your friend David, I understand that it caused you to step back and do a lot of reflecting. Why?
yeah you know what, I didn't want anything. I'm kind of done with it. I just wanted to fish. But I missed it so bad. I have camera equipment and a lot of stuff I do things with, and I miss it so much. There's a friend of mine that was in Texas. You remember Joe Estevez?
Sounds familiar.
So the way everybody knows Joe is he's Martin Sheen's brother. But
Well, see, the
Joe,
Estevez name kind of perked my interest in wondering if it was the Martins.
well, Joe's probably been my best friend for 30 years. And we've done, I think, 10 or 11 movies together. I put him in everything I do. Well, he introduced me to a guy in Texas, in Lampasas, Texas, of all places, named Randall Oliver. And then Randall Oliver talking to me a little bit, and Joe saying, "Don't give up." And then Randall introduced me to the Tanya Renee, top 10 talent. As I think you know her. Yeah, you know her. She said,
Oh, I know Tanya. Yeah.
yeah, and introduced me to her. And she actually came and met me and made more sense than a lot of people, And I don't want to get out of the old ways, but she's making me do a lot of new stuff, and she's man, she's a hustler, and she's getting me out there and changed my mind. So now I'm auditioning a lot. I mean, I auditioned a few times last week, and I'm directing some movies coming up, and I'm just gonna do what I want to do, though. I'm not gonna just go out of my way and do something that fits everybody else. So.
Well, what caused you to lose a bit of that passion for the industry? Was it because of losing your friend David?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But again, there's a lot of people that you know, you I'm very much I talk to God more than I talk to anybody. I mean, I talked to him right before I got on this. I mean, but I'm not the guy that tells everybody I talk to God all the time. And I think that doing letting a few people know that I'm a Christian, I believe in God, I'm a Republican, I believe in America, and man, it holds you back a lot. And they you are dogged in this business 80%, and I'm not gonna step up to that plate. I'm not giving in. That's a fact. I will not give in. But I want to do good stuff and it don't have to be a Christian movie, but it has to be a good family or good American movie that makes sense to people. I want them talking about it in 100 years. I don't want them talking about it next week and drop it. That type of thing. So.
Well, why is Hollywood so standoffish to actors that have conservative beliefs, those that like to live by their faith, and even though they don't wear it on their sleeve, somehow Hollywood knows. But why do they just kind of push them off to the side, or in a way, not hire them?
Well, I think you kind of know as good as I do this woke and all this I call crap, and I'll
Yeah,
call it
go
to
woke, go
anybody. I don't
broke,
care.
huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I would never. I can't imagine my granddad here right now. I'll tell you that. He would be. Oh man, he'd probably get shot. I mean, he wouldn't play the game. He just them old guys meant something. But somebody said the other day, I like Trump. I like DeSantis, and somebody told me the other day that's because you're in a cult. I've never seen a cult. I really don't know. I've seen it on TV, but okay, I guess I'm in a cult then, because I believe in America and I think there's a God, so I'm in a cult. So that's the only thing I can explain. I have a very good friend that I argue two of them. I argue every single day with them, but I'm still in a cult, and and the only thing Republicans are doing in office is trying to ruin the world, and it's just like they they won't open their eyes. They won't get all get out here and see public, and you know. I'm getting off on this, but go down to the border and see the real border. Don't listen to it on TV. I mean, we live it.
Well,
They
yeah.
see it on TV.
Well, I always kind of wonder, I know God always keeps his promises, but sometimes I'm wondering if he would just break the whole flood thing one time, he could just reflood the earth and just start over again.
I
Because
I
it's,
think the same thing. Another thing I was thinking though, and the other day was kind of getting on me is I wonder if he gets mad at me for telling him where to go sometimes, because you're supposed to pray for him and help him, but boy, they make me mad. So I don't
yeah.
know how
Now,
that works. But
does that whole atmosphere in Hollywood, and I know for you, it probably guides you into what projects that you want to do. Have you ever thought about breaking that rule?
I'm trying, and it's like John. You talked to him the other day, Snyder. What a
Yeah.
class act, and
Yeah.
he won't give in. A
No.
lot of the John Voight, Woods. I'm just them are the people I want to put around me, and it's hard to weed out. On a set now you can spit and they're going to sue you, and they'll just throw stuff out there. Everybody just throws it out all the time, and it makes no sense, and it just, what I'm saying, it gets on your nerves. But so you want that crew. It's bad when I'm going to direct something and I have to have a female and a male just on there so they know that I'm not hitting on something or spitting on something or slapping anything. I shouldn't have to have that watch over me, and that's what they've become in Hollywood.
Well,
Everybody's getting sued.
I've been, I have interviewed a ton of film directors, and and some of those film directors have done faith-based films. What astonished me though is when I went back to not just watch the film for prior to the interview, but looking at the actors that are actually in those faith-based films. And I found out that there are a few that absolutely do not believe they're there acting, but they're not acting because they believe in the story. They're just acting. And their political beliefs are on the extreme liberal side. I find that extremely odd, Kerry, because of the fact that if you took an actor who's conservative, believes in the Lord, wants to do great projects, but if they want to go to an audition and audition for a big part in, let's say, it's full blown Hollywood through and through, they get ignored or shoved off to the side. But in faith-based
Absolutely.
films, I find it amazing that the people that they bring in don't believe the exact same way. I mean, do you have an answer
I
for that?
agree. I don't have an answer for it, but I do know that, like a few of my liberal friends, I bring on because we don't talk politics ever, because that's a big thing. And I see most all of them do believe in God. I mean, they know that there's a God. I mean, they're always, even I hear them all the time. I think if I was going to say anything about it, I think that the biggest thing is if you could just get the whole crew together that where they stand on all their beliefs, then you wouldn't have no problems. And that's bad. You have to do that because we're supposed to be diverse and do everything correctly. But you can't do it if you're worried about getting sued, or worried about losing something or starting I did a movie years ago, and this is it's got to be in, I'm going to say in no 03, 2, somewhere around there. We was filming downtown Austin. There was a picture of Bush, and we never talked political belief. Nobody ever said anything. And two or three of these people put the deal on the ground and started hitting the picture of Bush like yeah, it was like, and I was just like, I was producing this, and I never said nothing, never speak up because I used to, I'll tell you where to go pretty quick. I don't care, but it was like, where did they come from? And I was actually that time I was trying to figure out Bush ain't the greatest guy. Bush ain't the worst guy, but he was our president, and he was doing good things. I mean, I back that. But for them to do that in front of people on my side, really just
Yeah, I know what you mean, and but do you think that hiring liberal actors, you got I can make an edit. Oh, I can make an edit point, no problem. Oh, you can reconnect if you want. Oh, there you are. Oh, all right.
sorry about that. I don't know. I
Oh,
got a phone call and it died out, but I thought I shut off all my phone calls. But
that's all right. We can take care of that in post.
yeah, I do know where I was at though. Is that I politics don't belong on the set or in a movie set. The biggest thing is that you're there to do a movie, and so doing these family and Christian movies. I'm directing a big feature this year, and it is one of the biggest, best features. I have Oscar-winning cameramen. I have Oscar-winning. I have my camera guy is just finished Avatar. I mean, I got big people coming in, and different beliefs, a few of them, but you have to really weed it out. But it's going to be one of the biggest things ever, and everybody kind of they're just looking at this picture. Nothing else will be brought up. And that's a good thing about it. I'd like to see it work like that instead of like the picture I just told you about. So
Well, yeah, because if you catch a bunch of people on a movie set talking about politics, it not only ruins the spirit of what's on the set, but it also can, well, drag on to multiple takes in front of the camera because that person could be riled up. Their thought process is still on what the
yeah.
conversation was behind the camera. And it starts to, well, not only waste time, but in film, that can waste a lot of money.
Well, in the old days when they did 35 millimeter, that was no nonsense. You couldn't do that because that costs a lot of money. Cutting and pasting stuff. Now the digital world now makes it a little easier, but you're not there to redo everything. You want to get it as quick as you can and good scenes, and I believe that. But um, the Tanya Renee, as I mentioned a couple of times, is she's kind of I do a lot of deals on my own, and I have for a long time. But now, if there's a deal to be done, she handles it, and if she has to run them off, she runs them off, and the good thing is there's 100% trust there. I know where she stands, and I don't have to worry about backlash. And that's a good thing about it. So,
Yeah,
and
it's more
now,
like as
so
we get, yeah, because it's like as we get older, we want to put up with less crap.
I do. I look at Robert Duvall and some of these guys, which, gosh, I love that man. He's just, incredible in their 90s now. And Ernest Borgnine was a very good friend of mine, and he laughed. He always made you smile, always made you laugh. And when they said action, he did his job. And it's hard to find that now. You can't see it. That's why we're doing our own thing, and it'll happen. I mean, we got such a great crew. I got a line producer in California that was a mentor at the Directors Guild. Me and him been friends for a long. Him and I have been friends for a long time. But so we have nothing but a great crew. So when we do start doing films, um, it's going to be like John Snyder. I mean, look at this last film. He did all that on his own and pulled it off, and he is. I'm just so impressed with the way he's done it. I was
Yeah,
actually going
John.
to go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead, Kerry.
I was actually going to use his son, Chasen. A few years ago, I called Chasen. I still have his number. I never called him since because we didn't do the movie. But his son's a good actor too, Chasen, and I really wanted to kind of use Chasen in one of our movies coming up. And not just because of the whole John deal, but because if he has John's beliefs, things will get done right when he shows up.
Yeah, well, let me ask you something because I know that you have done quite a few music related videos and you even won a
Yeah.
CMA award for directing the music video Have You Ever Seen the Rain with Willie and Paula Nelson. Did, with you getting into music video production, did that help you learn moving into film, or did you do film even before music videos?
No, I did film first, but I have such a weird mind. I have these dreams. I've won so many awards off my dreams that I wrote down. I mean, really, but Paula Nelson, Willie's daughter, and Willie's ex-wife, Connie Nelson, are some of our best friends. And I went on the road with Paula for a while and did a lot of shooting and just kind of helped out a lot. We did two movies together, Paula and I. And so when I hear a song now, I remember when she first played it. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. She called us up on the phone and played that song. Have you ever seen the rain? She is the first one to come out with it. She didn't. Her dad did it with her, but that was her idea. And when she came out with "Have you ever seen the rain?" I was just like, wow. But I seen it right in my head, right then the video. And if I could, I know that every video I've done has won awards or is people can see. If I hear a song and I picture it, if the artist would let me run with the video, we can make more award-winning videos because I see that way ahead of time. I do have that vision that I'm proud of, and I've always had it. I have a friend, Kelly Kenning. You remember Johnny Rodriguez?
Yo, yeah, yeah, yeah. North of the border and down by the
Yeah,
Rio
riding my
Grande.
thumb.
I love those songs.
Yeah. Johnny lives down at Kelly's dad's house now in Alice, Texas. I shouldn't have said that, but anyway, and Kelly Kenny is one of the best songwriters. If you pull him up, it'll blow your mind. He won a Christian album of the year, Christian song of the year, some other stuff. He's just a great songwriter. I'd say three-quarters of the songs he writes, because me and him think so much alike. I see a video right off the bat, but getting the investors to put up the money, because Kelly don't sell out arenas, is that's the hardest thing. But if I guarantee we could take some of his videos and make, and that was the CMA of Texas, and we won three of them. I won Best Director, Best Producer, and something else, and then I won Best Director off of a movie, or Best. I won three total CMAs, and I don't remember what all of them was for. But.
Well, right now, what is the big differences between acquiring funding to do music videos and possible? Well, I don't know how you would compare it with an independent artist versus one that's on a record label, and then even trying to get funding for today's film projects.
So what I do know about the videos is you're not going to make your money back usually. It's a video that you're putting out for them. I do. I mean, we do on certain things. We get a piece of YouTube or whatever, but it ain't like paying my mortgage. It's more like buying a candy bar type stuff. I think that if uh, the investors do that, that's to do their name and put out good videos. And there should be a lot of people that they're wasting money on everything else. So why not have your name on a really good song, or something? Doing the movies it's tough right now with our world. Um, the investors are scared to step up. They're scared to do a whole lot. And if you don't have a great track record, which we ain't made millions of dollars on our stuff, but we made money. I don't think we've ever lost anything. But I think banks and everything's scaring everybody right now. I mean,
Well, do you think it
we had a
has
couple
to
of
do with
things.
the, well, sorry, Kerry, but do you think it has to do with the fact that, here we are, we had the pandemic, nobody could go to the movie theaters. A lot of people kind of held back on projects, and then those that did come out had to go straight to streaming.
Yeah,
Even though the theater has not completely recovered, but many people are praising Tom Cruise for bringing people back to the theaters. Jesus Revolution movie is getting praised for getting people back into the movie theaters. Does
yeah.
funding have trying to get funding? Do these investors look at, are you going to take it to the theater, or is it going straight to streaming? And like you said, I know the track record has everything to do with it too.
We have with my friend Randy out of Malibu, the line producer I was telling you about. We have it set up now. If we do the low budget movies, like say under 300,000, we are pretty much guaranteed to make our money back plus 100 grand. And then they air it so many times, then you get it back, and then you can do foreign and different distributions. The bigger movies, yeah, the theater ain't where you're gonna make your killing unless it's just a blockbuster hit. So you have to have the platforms underneath that set up. I have a friend right now that has 4 movies in the can right now. And he's had them there 5 years, in the can. Great movies. Hot Bath, Stiff Drink. Jeffrey Patterson, it's Once Upon a Dreams, if you want to look it up. And they're great movies. Now he's got a little bit of money. Well, he lives on a dang yacht in Fort Lauderdale, so he can do some things. But anyway, he has it to where the distribution platform he's working on is going to make it good for all of us. So now we have it to where we're not going to lose on our shows unless the show is just directed bad, acted bad, and it just nobody wants to look at it at all. And we don't do that. So we have. I mean, you can't say I guarantee. You just can't do that in this business. But I'm 99%. That everybody makes their money
Well,
back. The thing about the videos,
yeah.
the thing about the videos and stuff, real quick, is if I'm directing and I got a crew of 5 or 6 people, we want to get paid while we're doing it. You know, that's a week out of our or 2 weeks or whatever, and we want to get paid then. And and we want to get paid on our movies too. But a lot of people want to go on the back end to where once we pay the investor back, we give him his whatever percentage, and everybody had a little bit and say it blows up. Like Resurrection, Mel Gibson's Resurrection. I have a little in on that right now. If I was rich, I'd jump on it because Resurrection will. It's no matter what, it's going to make somebody something.
Well,
If
yeah,
your
because I
name's on
think
it.
Passion of the Christ brought in well over 600 million, and in today's time, the Resurrection that I believe he's about to start working on, I would project it to at least hit $1 billion.
Yeah, I do too. And that's Mel Gibson. I mean, this guy's he didn't give in, did he? But look at him. He don't put up. I know he's doing a movie in New Mexico now, and then he's going to do that supposedly in Rome, and then he's going to come back, and I think he's going to direct Lethal Weapon.
Again?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm told by a very good source that hangs with him. But um, the guy don't lose. I mean, Resurrection is what people need and want to see right now. And boy,
Yeah,
I'd
they
just give
do.
anything to yeah.
Yeah. Everybody,
If I
yeah, because
had
yeah, go ahead.
if I had $1 million just to my name, I would give all of it for this because I know it's gonna do good. So
Yeah, and I know people have been waiting for years and years for the sequel, and we know there's only one sequel
yeah,
to
yeah,
Christ, unless they want to
yeah,
film the second coming. But people want to see the resurrection because he made the Passion of the Christ, I mean, absolutely real in a brutal sense. I mean, people need to realize that's what it looks like when your sins are forgiven.
I, I remember me and this church. I was going to a cowboy church out of Comanche, Texas. All of us went to the theater, and I never seen such a good film in my life. It was just like wow, and not just a good film. It was the idea that it's real. Isn't this really? It
Well, the
really happened.
detail. Yeah, it was the
Oh
detail.
man.
I mean,
Yeah.
I remember an interview that he did where they literally just talked about the fact that when they hung Christ on the cross, but he said the filming to let people realize that what really happens is when the cross is dropped into that hole, and then the
Yeah.
jolt that hits,
Yeah.
and that
Oh
jolt
man.
that
Yeah.
goes through the human body. And I mean, he made it as real. I mean, literally, it was real. And so I know that everybody's waiting for the resurrection. But I want to ask you a question, Kerry, because you know every aspect of the film industry. And you take people like Netflix, they're well over $600 million in debt. The viewing public, I call it, we're the beast. And the beast has to be continually fed. We get bored really easy. Streaming is continuing to grow, but people like Hulu, Netflix, Paramount, the list goes on. They have to keep creating content because they'll watch something and move on to something else. So
Yeah.
where in the world is all of that money coming from, and I mean, is it the subscription rates that not only paying for that, but how in the world are they making money from that? Because the debt load's huge.
A lot of them films, like I watch Amazon a lot, and a lot of them films are 2.99 a piece. I have 4 or 5 on there that I at least star in, and the one of them I produced, but 2.99 a piece, and it was a low budget. I think it was done for $15,000, so it's quadrupled its money, you know. But you get a bigger one. I don't know how their platforms are making money. I'm so confused about it now. Except I do know that I have a deal where we can work with Lifetime. I have some setups with GAC Hallmark. It just depends on who you want to work with. And you really, if you do the movie for a certain budget, below a certain budget, you're gonna make your money back. Like I was telling you earlier, them 250, $300,000 movies, we can pull them off to where you think they're $2 or $3 million. I know that, but um, getting somebody to put that money up for that movie is the hardest thing now because they see that 600 million in debt and stuff like that, and it's hard. How do you convince somebody to put money in when everything's been losing money?
Well,
So
I
that's
saw
why we
an
got a good
interview.
platform.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw an interview with actor Matt Damon, and he was explaining how what the movie industry used to do. He said you get a movie into the theater, and you have this massive budget, and he goes, I went in with a movie and said I only need 25 million, only 25, but the studio said, well, you think you only need 25, but it's going to cost you
Yeah,
100 because you need this,
for
this, and this.
P&A.
He said, he goes, but back in the day when that film hit the theater, and even though if you were lucky to break even, you could always rely on the DVD sales, but he says DVD is gone. He
Yeah.
goes, now it goes to streaming, but the kind of money that you look at after the fact is no longer there.
Well, I on some things I disagree and I agree, and boy did he have the golden spoon. But anyway, John Snyder, for instance, we was talking about that earlier. Look at that movie he just finished. I mean, and he's got people in there mailing them out every day, DVDs. So I believe DVDs going to stick around no matter what, because if everything else fails, we still got our DVDs in the boxes. And I really believe in DVDs. Another thing is where you said a while ago that um, when it went to the theater, yeah, if it wasn't a blockbuster, it didn't make millions and millions of dollars. It might have broke even, but by the time you do the P&A and everything else, you really lost money. So you had to do foreign and domestic and all the DVD sales at Walmart and wherever to make the sales, and that was the important thing. And it's hard now, but I think people that's been with it that have lived on the lower side, that like we have. I'm not saying under anybody, but that we've I made blood packs out of Trojan rubbers and rocket igniters, on 8 millimeter before. So I mean, and corn syrup and food coloring. So the people that do things like that, but now have honed it in, I think that's where the money's going to be made on for our section of people. So.
Well, what projects are you currently working on now?
Well, I'm doing one called Anger this week, and I'm working for some people, and I'm just acting. But I have two that I'm um, directing, and this one I'm directing is about a river, about the government coming in making people move off the river. Took over and ain't helped it much as far as I'm concerned. But it's actually a love story too, and it's a great story. I brought Tanya in, and we all hashed it out. And actually, I was talking with Jim Caviezel, or we were trying to talk with him to bring him aboard. And I'm not saying that won't happen, but I'm hoping it does, because if anybody could pull it off, he could. And it's mainly about a man and a wife that went through the ups and downs, and made it. And I mean, he drank, he played poker, he did a little bit of everything, but he was a man's man. And people, I go talk to people that know him, and his handshake meant everything. And that movie's going to be that's going to be my big one. And I mean, I can't do that for under a couple million. And then I got a Christmas movie and some other stuff I'm doing for 250, 300. And then I actually got called on a music video, and I'm kind of gonna wait and see what they throw up. Like the videos that kind of helped out with Kinky Friedman. That there was no money there. And that's one thing David and I love putting us out there and doing things, but it's like musicians now. a lot of these new musicians will go play for nothing, but the other musicians that make a living off of it can't make no money because these went and played for nothing, you know. And you can't do nothing for nothing. You got to make money and pay your bills. So,
Yeah,
well, that went around, didn't it?
yeah, no, it's absolutely true. I mean, I've interviewed so many recording artists, and even just recently, I was watching a film documentary of singer John Waite, and was stunned that in the first 6 albums that he did with the Babies, he only made $6,000 in 6 years.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
the record label just kept making them pump out albums to cover the cost of the last album, and just basically just pimped them out on tour, and but nobody was making any money. So
I think it was Lee Majors or someone told me. It might not be Lee. I can't remember who told me this, but they said once the distribution gets it in their hands, then all their traveling and everything else. And he says, and you know they're going to use 2-ply toilet paper. They're not going to go with the cheap stuff. So, and so yeah, I remember. I'll never forget that. You know, but uh, I I actually think that this everything that's happening in the world, I think has brought so many. You may not see it, but I think it's brought so many people together to do good things that I think it's going to change big time. And I really believe that I may not be around, you know, I hope I am, but but I really believe that good things are going to happen. Good movies are going to start coming out. So
so you think we're going to see more high quality faith based films? I think Jesus
I
Revolution kind of set the bar.
I think it set a big bar. I think so, and I think good family films. You know, they always say, and I think Tanya might even said this one time. I always say Tanya Renee. You know, top 10 talent if anybody wants to know. Anyway, that the bar. You see a lot of these Christian movies that aren't shot real well and haven't doesn't have the acting that it should have. And the reason for that is most of the times they don't have the budget to do them kind of movies because I don't think all the Christians are stepping up and getting behind that stuff. If they stepped up like they did in Hollywood to do Transformers, we would have blockbuster Christian films. You know, the other thing is that half the Christian films they say, well, there's no cussing and this and that. You can't do this and that. Well, I don't want to ever use GD in anything, but a lot of these Christian films. I don't know anybody that hasn't cussed. I never met anybody that hasn't cussed once or twice, that hadn't drank coffee, hadn't drank a beer, or done whatever, you know. And so that is life, and that's why we're here. That's why He forgave us for our sins, you know. So um, anyway, that's mine in a nutshell.
Well, you
So,
can't you can't film a sinner not sinning. I mean,
exactly.
you've got to make the film real. Now, they don't have to,
Yep.
you don't have to put in GD. You don't have to put in the F word to get the point across, and you don't need to do it for shock value, but to bring true real life situations to film so people can understand that Jesus died for our sins for a reason, and that
Yep.
people can be redeemed regardless if they're so far left or whatever. And and sometimes I kind of wonder, with some of these faith-based films that I've seen that have liberal actors, do you think that in the right circumstance that the story alone could minister to the actor themselves?
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, the liberal actors is sometimes you don't know because they're scared to say it, you know. But I think that the story is the number one. If you don't have a good story, you're not going to get good actors. I mean, that's all there is to it. I How would I say this? I think that the good stories that are filmed are making headways because they're getting good actors, they're getting good crew. And I hate we have to say that, put liberal in that category, but it's kind of coming from that side. I know a lot of Christian liberals, and but you're like I was saying earlier, we're scared to hire them. We're scared to put them in because for instance, I'll quit this, but I know Bill Cosby and Weinstein and all these guys did bad things. I know that, and I didn't like. I almost slapped him once, Weinstein. I mean, that's how close. I mean that with all my heart.
And how do people, let's say an investor is watching right now, how do people connect with you if they want to work with you as a filmmaker or as an actor in one of your projects?
Call Tanya Renee, top 10 talent, and you have that info. Um, the other thing is we're not going to take just anybody. I just can't. And the good thing about it is, if they put up the money, it's handled through attorneys, not us anymore. I don't want to even touch a dollar. I want to get my check and cash it. You know. And my guy in Malibu is that guy that takes care of business and goes through all the right sort of payroll companies and does everything correct. You know, you have insurance, you have everything that takes care of business. We've done a lot that didn't have insurance and we didn't take care of business right, you know, but that full circle's coming. We do that. Um, I got to say one more thing. I know we probably got to go, but one more thing is Daryl Strawberry. How lucky are you? This guy's like my. I told you this guy's awesome. You know, just the things he's went through to get where he's at. And I always say his birthday's the same day as mine. He's a year older. You know, I know you can't tell he looks younger, but man, what a man! I mean, he's a good man.
Well, it's funny because there are people that I've gone after uh, to interview, and sometimes the timing is completely off. And I actually went after Daryl probably a couple of years ago. Could never get into contact with the right person, and then out of the clear blue, there he is. So we'll be setting that up pretty soon. And it's weird, Kerry, because for me, some of the hardest guests to get are actually sports stars. To
I
me,
know.
they are some of the toughest to actually get on the air. Probably most of them are still playing, and those that retire, well, they want to stay out of the limelight. So, but yeah,
Well,
Daryl
I have a
Strawberry
friend.
is awesome.
Well, one of my partners is a Hall of Fame boxing champion. He's Thale Torrance is his name. He's 84 years old, and we're trying to get him on the in the boxing Hall of Fame up there in Arkansas because that's where he's from. And you know what? This man, if you looked him up and just saw, I can't believe nobody. You probably hadn't heard his name before. This guy
Mm.
is like everybody knows him. I mean, I've been at his office, seen Mike Tyson walk in, seen Don King. You know what I mean? This guy is amazing. And if anybody could remind me of him, it would be Daryl Strawberry because they don't see they probably see all the bad, but it's never brought up, and it's always happy to sit across from them. So you might have a great interview with that man. So that'd be
Oh,
nice.
I'm looking forward to it. And Kerry, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to talk with you today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I told Tanya when she talked to me about it. I think that you listen, and I've done a lot that don't really listen, and that's that's what it's about. You got to listen, and
Well, listening. Well, for me, listening is extremely important. But I like to learn, and
yeah,
we can't stop learning, especially in this industry. I love television. I love film. I interview so many people from the music industry. It's the creativity that I like to see that just comes out of people and hear what they have to say, what they're going to do. And at the same time, a lot of people kind of get mad at the entertainment industry, but if it wasn't for the entertainment industry, we wouldn't be watching movies, watching television, or listening to our favorite bands and recording acts through our
exactly.
earbuds. So we got to thank them for all that they do and for being creative, and people like you who are being creative and bringing us great films and music videos as well. And ladies and gentlemen, Kerry Wallum, actor, stuntman, producer, director. Again, a man who is as tough as they come. So keep your eyeballs out, ladies and gentlemen, because there's brand new films, brand new projects coming from this man. And hey, he's a man of faith as well. He chooses wisely. So if you ever remember that scene in Indiana Jones where the old warrior says, choose wisely, Kerry Wallum chooses wisely. So stay tuned. I'll be right back with a little bit more.